other stuff for right
I'm gonna
now.
start this, so whenever you're ready, Tom.
All right, I'd like to open this regular meeting of the Board of Adjustment for, was it May 16th? I wasn't there at the last one. Well, I was there. It was for the special meeting. I wasn't there.
Right, we're in.
So all we have to do right now is approve the minutes from the last meeting. And,
Should have that in your packet.
yeah.
Should be the. Does everybody have that?
Let's see here. Back. Do you have it, the minutes from the last meeting?
I saw it.
Did I not
I
give
read
to
it.
you in the?
I
It is,
saw
I
it.
got it.
Okay.
From April
I saw
18th.
So,
He had it in his.
When I did like this,
I
I
would
just
do
glanced at my Gmail.
You're not
Says right
looking
there,
at
regular
that.
minutes.
Yeah, regular minutes,
Okay.
okay.
I'd like to make a motion for someone to approve the minutes of the April 18th meeting.
you'll entertain a motion.
I'll entertain the motion.
I'll second that, or make the motion.
I'll second it.
Pass. All right,
Okay.
so we're moving on.
Yep.
We're gonna deal with the, what's the main problem here this, we discussed? Was
Okay.
the,
So no public comment. Okay, so I'm gonna say this was Eric's request, but we all discussed it, to put on the agenda a review of the previously approved conditional use permit, 240002 for 117 West Pendleton Street. It was the Iron Moon Trading Company storage buildings. In your packet, the first thing you'll see related to that, it says certificate of land use restriction. This is what I gave to the applicant to record, and I actually meant to go do that and then forgot that the clerk's office is closed after lunch, so I didn't get over there. But this is what I gave her to record. I was gonna verify that she had. I can't remember if she told me she did before or not.
the Ivy Moon has this, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
gave her this. The back
Okay.
of that was the application form. I
Okay,
just
she
kinda
signed it.
yeah,
Okay, got
yeah.
it, good.
So these were the conditions that were recorded, that was approved by you all on January 18th, 2024. All structures on the property associated with the commercial activity shall be secured against intrusion from people, animals, and the elements at all times when no employees are present. Applicants shall apply for a business license and permits for any construction activities, including any permanent structures, fences, signs, and any grading activity within the floodplain. And number 3, applicants must maintain 6 feet of separation between structures, whether temporary or permanent. Okay, so then if you look at the next thing in your packet, which I did not staple, I believe, there's a, wait a minute. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I've got the, what am I looking at?
Zoning.
Oh, I've got it, okay. I've got these a little bit out of order. Go to the one that says, at the top, it says original conditions, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The yeah, sorry, I might have put the stuff out of order.
I'm a little bit confused where we're at.
I am too.
Okay, so there's this packet that's got, it's stapled, and it's the one that's stapled, it's got some pictures in it.
I don't have anything stable. Pictures.
No, no.
How much was?
None of us do.
Oh,
You gotta pass them out.
Is that the one I said, I'll come and pick it up if you have it ready?
I don't know.
That's all right.
Drowning in a sea of paper.
Yes, you are, and,
Well,
and-
yeah.
and you are forgiven.
We all need iPads. Okay, so what I just handed you, this was, I went out today. The first part is kind of a reiteration of those conditions, which also includes work with 911 coordinator to get an address. She did that. And number 4 was record the certificate of land use restriction. Today I went out approximately 9:30 to 9:50. I went in every building. I looked in every building, checked every door. No doors were locked. There were quite a few, there were some buildings that
Were they open?
some were open, some were closed.
Tell me, like, were they open for business?
Oh, well, their posted hours are 9 to 6.
Mhm.
There was no one on site.
Mhm.
About 10 minutes before I left, somebody pulled in to drop a trailer, but they do that. The guys that drop the trailers drop them and go.
Mhm.
So there was nobody in the office, there was nobody parked on the site.
So they all should have been locked and
They
secured.
should have all been locked and secured.
And-
They're not 6 foot apart, right?
They're
Yeah,
not
but-
6 foot apart,
So,
some
Tom-
are.
So
Where
Tom,
they
what we
pull back.
learned in our training is that anytime one of us or Chris can go on their property and
A commercial property.
Yeah,
On a commercial property.
okay.
It's
I can
not
buy
against
that.
law, it's
Yeah.
not
No,
against
no,
law.
I
We're not
have no problem with
trespassing.
that.
We have a right to do
I was
that.
talking about private property the
Well,
other day.
Oh, okay. then-
so many of the buildings, and not all of them, because obviously some of them had a space where they pulled out a building. Some of them were just in the back were spaced a little farther apart. So not all, but many, quite a few of them were less than 6 feet and some had less than 4. There were a few that
Some
you,
have less than 2.
there were a few that like between the buildings, if the door was on the side, it wouldn't open all the way between the two buildings. So they were
That's pretty tight.
pretty tight.
Well, did any of them have side entrance?
Yes, a lot of them do.
That's
Some
what I
have
thought
sides,
they
some have
did.
front.
Yeah.
Okay, we have 6 minutes. 2 smelled of urine. 1 had a dog bowl with spilled food and a trash bag and some other trash scattered around.
So somebody's been in it.
Yeah, but now, 1 had stuff in it, 2 smelled bad, like people had been living in them, but didn't have anything in them. They were
Right,
clean.
right.
So that means if they were repossessed, it could come from
Right,
Right.
It doesn't
exactly.
necessarily mean somebody's
Yeah.
in them. But the one with the dog bowl, I'm pretty sure that was there after the building was placed on site. All of the others were clean, other than muddy footprints. Then the entire site had grass over 12 inches, including inside the buildings that didn't have floors. Knee-high weeds, there was poison ivy. I specifically identified some poison ivy. So my concern with, that's a big concern, which wasn't one of the conditions, but it violates the nuisance ordinance, is that, you know how it is, if you show up, you take your kids, you go, look, we're gonna go buy a storage building, you pull up, you get out of the car, kids start running around everywhere.
Yeah,
Playing.
And you're looking at the buildings, and the kids are over here, and they're in the creek, and they're on top of the building, and they're opening all the doors and climbing in all the lofts. The whole site, in that sense, is probably, I mean, you know, there's a little bit of that that's on the parent to keep up with their kids, but there's the old island where there were the old gas pumps that has like rusty metal sticking up. There's a big pile of busted up concrete blocks. If you look through the packet, there's some other stuff. There's pallets of the big concrete blocks. If I was 7 years old, I'd be climbing all over that and knock them off on my sister. There was some trash piled up in the back. So there's a lot of nuisance things going on that are a concern to me for that reason, that you're gonna have the public come in and, you know, you're walking through knee-high weeds, you're gonna get ticks, there could be snakes, there's already definitely poison ivy. So I'm, at the very least, the first thing we're gonna do is contact you and say, hey, you gotta cut the weeds. But then I'm presenting all this to you, it's, as the Board of Adjustment, it is your,
No, so you and I, what we learned in our meeting is we just need to go ahead and send her a letter
Right.
that you have, you need to send her a letter saying you have this many days to correct the conditions that we put on your land use.
Yeah.
is there a
Which was-
standard amount of days given with a letter?
well,
like 30
normally with like a nuisance, it would be, 10
Immediate?
days after the letter.
Okay.
This is a little bit different than a nuisance,
This is
just in the city,
compliant.
it's just, yeah. So we could do one of two things, we could say that, because I'll have to get the letter together and send
To
it.
be honest with you, a lot of this stuff could have been taken.
She's out of compliance.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff could have been taken care of within 10 business days of her getting this
Right, I agree,
information.
I agree.
Like moving the buildings, you already had somebody there hauling, move this building, get somebody to move the buildings, lock them. If they're supposed to have somebody on site, before they close up, they need to go around, make sure everything's closed up and locked, because the day I went out there were windows open, there were doors unlocked, there were doors open.
Right. Well, like I said, I was there from 9:30 to 9:50, and I went in every building. So if if you're the employee and it took you half an hour to go unlock every building in the morning when you got there, and 20 minutes to go back and lock them before you left at the end of the day, that's not a lot of time.
But
Is there wires running in that box?
I was just gonna say, is that a three-phase box?
I don't know. I didn't touch anything in it. I unlatched it and opened it, took a picture, closed
That's
it.
a
should be
sewer,
locked.
but no,
Yeah.
that's a city sewer box.
Yeah.
Why is it locked?
That's city's responsibility. That's
I don't
their
know.
overflow sewer.
Okay.
Like, correct,
It's got
Oh, is
power.
that what that
it's
is?
got power in it then.
Yeah, it's got power.
Okay, so that might not be on them then. That might be on us.
Well,
But-
it's on somebody, and it really ought to be.
I'll
fixed.
find out. I'll get with Richard and find out what we need to do about that.
I think, to be fair, 30 days to meet the requirements.
I
Well,
agree.
Or
because
maybe,
I think that's plenty of time.
I
30
think
days.
so.
or maybe for each condition, we put a certain amount of time on it.
Well,
I don't know what y'all's thoughts are.
Or do you want to say by the next regular meeting? Because I'll have to send out a letter.
So it'd be 30 days after they receive, after the letter.
Well,
It'd be a
if she
certified
complies
letter.
by the next regular meeting of the Board of Adjustment, we can look at
Yes.
it then.
Yes.
Okay.
And then she could also come in and state her case if she has trouble. And
Well, that needs to be put on there by the next
Yeah.
meeting, which is June 20th.
right.
All this needs to be done, or you need to come and, not by phone, I want to see you in person.
Yes.
I don't want somebody on the phone,
She never
because I can
did.
when I look at somebody, I can tell stuff, so.
Okay.
Well,
So
she's
we'll-
blatantly disregarded,
No, she's done nothing.
no, not, right,
Exactly.
blatantly
She has-
disregarded everything we set forth, and I don't think anything we did was out of line.
And besides that, I thought we were being exceptionally lenient because there was snow on the ground. She had bought that recently and it was a.
Then one quick
wonderful
question,
sale.
how are they, is there a forklift there, or they winching
They
them
bring them
on the
trucks,
flatbeds?
on the trucks.
Okay.
So we're running real tight. I don't want to rush you all, but what's your
Well,
kind of
you get-
will of the
By
board?
by next meeting, she should meet, what she had.
So I'm going to file a motion, by the next meeting, she has to have all these conditions met, or she needs to appear in front of the board if they're not met.
And I'll second it.
Right. And the letter be sent out immediately.
Yes.
I second.
Did you take a vote?
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, she blatantly just disregarded everything we said.
Yep, and I
Everything.
thought we were very lenient with it.
And definitely, Chris, you wanna check on that.
The bonds.
That's the
Oh,
city,
yeah.
that's the city sewer or their water level.
I'll check with Richard, and if he can verify that, then I won't. We definitely need to see if it's got live wires in it, and if it does, we need to,
Looks fine to me.
yeah.
Looks
Well,
like
and
to me.
I
besides
couldn't
that,
really
even
tell,
if
and-
it's not, you don't want an open box that somebody can get in there and place.
Was this open or did you open it?
I opened it.
Okay.
Um,
Was it, would it have screw latches on
It
it?
just had like, just
Okay.
little
All
latches.
right, moving on.
So, okay. We're a little short on time, but this goes back to the manufactured home stuff I was talking about. This, the ZA 240037 conditional use permit requirements for manufactured homes dated 5/15/24. So I can kind of sum this up. This is what I'm going to propose is basically the changes to the zoning ordinance for manufactured homes. Let me just, I'm not going to go through all the background to it. Currently, and I put this in quotes because remember I said that there's technical definitions, but currently double wide trailers are allowed as a conditional use in R1, R2, and R3 zone districts, and single wide trailers are allowed as a conditional use only in R3. Based on our current ordinances. So I'm recommending on the second page that the ordinance be updated to reflect the changes because our ordinance is kind of out of sync with the other ordinance. And to furthermore clarify manufactured homes as defined by KRS 100.34A be allowed as an accessory use to a manufactured home land lease community which is in compliance with the conditions of an approved conditional use permit. That goes back to what I said earlier. If the park is approved under a conditional use permit, the homes are an accessory. And so then the second recommendation was to change the definition title. And then, oh, here's where it is, I think. Yeah, in the last recommendation, it's my recommendation that before any existing non-conforming manufactured home land lease, this killed me to type this all out. I had to read it out loud. That before any existing non-conforming manufactured home land lease community can be expanded, the owner of record must have an approved conditional use permit for the community. Recommended conditions would be a 2-scale plat or similar drawing indicating all property boundaries, easements, roadways, permanent improvements, and lease area lines. And for any new manufactured home land lease communities or expansion of an existing one, a development plan will be required, which can be approved in lieu of a conditional use permit. So that's saying if you come in and you want to do a new one, you could do a development plan, you wouldn't have to do the conditional use permit. The development plan would satisfy whatever conditional use permit would be. And then I just identified the existing ones. So what I'm asking you all with this, so I've done a lot of interpretations where I've written them out. I meant to bring my book. I've got a book of interpretations, and what I'd like to do, and we'll work back through it over the next few months, is let you all review them and then basically approve or amend my interpretation, because that's the power of the board has that authority and power. We don't have to do this tonight. We can do this later, but I want to include this in our zoning ordinance update. So I don't want to rush you, but we don't have to do it tonight. And then the next one I put was just that 8/1/23 dated one. That was where I made the interpretation that if it was a single wide trailer in a mobile home park, it didn't have to meet the standalone manufactured home ordinance. And I had to do this whole research on the definitions and all that to come to that conclusion. But that was just kind of supporting this one that I'm bringing before you tonight. So, sorry, I know I rushed through that, but trying to be
What's the Lakeview Drive? Where's the Lakeview Drive there?
backside of Airport Subdivision.
Oh.
The one that backs up to the
Yeah,
road.
yeah.
10, 12 mobile homes.
Yeah, but they are all on individually
Individual
owned lots. It's not one owner for all of them. Each one is a different owner.
And they're mostly rentals.
And there are 2,
Yeah, there are two.
so
They're not really in compliance with that.
no.
It's rough. Yeah. Anyway, so I'll throw that out there. You all can decide if you want to discuss it more, or if you can decide what action you want to take tonight.
I say we visit it next month.
Okay, we can get that.
Second.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so
Oh, good job, Chris. I mean,
thank you.
especially with the.
And getting me a really good judge.
Been long, going
All right,
on.
I guess,
Do we
What is
have
it,
anything
motion?
else? Do we have
Motion
anything else?
to
I don't-
close the meeting,
I make the motion.
I'll second.
all in favor?
I will get that letter together